All right, guys, I got a really special treat for you today. I'm sitting here virtually with Kristen Jensen. She's a former Ford supermodel, also an actress as well, former actress, who has successfully navigated the transition from being in front of the camera to being behind the camera. And she does this thing that's called lifestyle photography. So we're going to find out all about that, her transition, how it's going, what she likes to shoot, all that cool stuff. So Kristen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Frederick. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. So before we kick this off, because I want to dive into your background and all that, what is a lifestyle photographer? Tell me what that means.
You know, a lifestyle photographer, which I sort of coined myself as, you know, to be one, is to photograph people really living their life. I mean, it's kind of more of a shot in a more documentary way. Yeah. Lifestyle in a casual setting. It's not poses and putting people in uncomfortable situations. It's really capturing them in the moment. So it can be capturing someone who's a singer. Mm-hmm. You know, doing an album cover. It could be anybody that has a profession that is working and in their job. So it could be a restaurateur, it could be a banker, it could be, you know, Frederick Van John, you know, it could be you.
So instead of like, say, you know, I would hire you, and instead of you doing, okay, now we're going to do the studio shoot and you're going to be standing there with your arms crossed and we're going to put two models behind you. Instead of that, you would actually capture me at the mic or actually shooting or something like that. Correct?
Yeah, I guess, you know, it's hard. It's not to just say that I'm a portrait photographer. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think because the jobs that I shoot are so vast, it mostly is people and it's about people. Yeah. So it's just really about people living their life. Yeah. Is really what it is.
I like that. So let's rewind back a little bit. So when you were modeling, and when I saw that you were a Ford model, I'm thinking, okay, that Ford model equals real deal, right? So that's like the Harvard or the Princeton of modeling. It's a pedigree in the modeling world, right? So tell me how that was and how you got into all that.
I think Ford Models, that's what it is. It's kind of like the modeling agency that the general public knows about. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really great agencies and just all over the world, but in New York, that's pretty much has been the leader. I started modeling. I grew up outside of San Francisco. I grew up in a town called Livermore.
I know very well. Let me look out the window. I could probably see where you used to hang out.
Yeah, I graduated from Livermore High. I was on my way to go to college, and my mother entered me into a beauty contest, which I was very reluctant to do. And I didn't win because I was probably petrified and shaking, you know, because I just was petrified being in front of people. But I had my photographs taken after that time. One of the judges at the beauty contest was a really good photographer, and he took my pictures, and I was blown away myself, just like, that's me. Yeah, I couldn't believe it was me. And shortly thereafter, I was scouted by an agent out of San Francisco who was traveling from Paris. She was an American and married to a French guy, and they flew me to Paris to come and do the collections. And that's really kind of how it started. It just like took off.
That sounds like almost the stereotypical like small town girl gets found and discovered, and suddenly she's in Paris, and she's like, "Oh, the Champs-Élysées! Wow!"
That was back when Livermore was like the ghetto. I mean, that was my ticket out, and I went not knowing anything, very doe-eyed, and I was supposed to come back after 6 weeks, and I stayed a year. Yeah. So I really loved it, and I just started modeling right away, and I did mostly print. So I did mostly advertising and catalogs, and I had a very long run for a model. Yeah. Being a model is kind of like being an athlete. Right. There's like a window period for you to make money, and that's it. Then you're out. Then they just like put you out to pasture. Like now I'm doing like stuff for Depends, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
I had to process that. I'm like, really? Wow.
But I mean, it's like they really look at you. Like now I'm like, oh my gosh, how long did you model? I said, I modeled 25 years. Wow. Almost every day, a booking. And I worked with thousands of photographers. Thousands.
That's crazy. Yeah. So then that's also an education, right? Because you were in front of the camera after working with thousands of photographers. Yeah. You kind of got an idea of what's good and what's bad, you know, the mannerisms, how to work with people, how not to work with people, all that stuff. What would you say was like that point of inflection where you were like, yeah, I could do that. I'm going to do that.
I think that, and I was just talking about this. I was in Indianapolis over the weekend teaching a workshop on beauty, and I was sort of working with the model and asking her, do you agree that you don't like working with photographers that can't make up their mind? Agree with me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that was always really difficult to work with photographers that weren't decisive. And that was back in the days when we took Polaroids. We didn't have
remember
digital.
those, yeah.
So, yeah, we always look at the Polaroid. Everybody would gather around the art director, the client. Everybody looked at the Polaroid, and the model would be standing there, and it just took so much patience. It was so time sensitive, and models didn't have an input. Well, about 15 years into my career, I started eating lunch with the photographers and talking to them more. And then it was like I got really into it and would collaborate with them about the light. Well, don't you think this looks good here? Or why don't we go over there and shoot that? And they go, hey, that's good. You have a really good eye for that. Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it really just sort of organically evolved. And I know what light feels like on my face. Every time I light anything or I'm lighting a subject, I stand where that subject is going to be. And not only do I know how to light and what feels right on my face, is that I also, at that same time, am teaching my subject, whoever it is, it could be a bride, a business owner, whoever's having their picture taken, how to pose and how to feel great. Yeah. So it's kind of like 2 for 1. It's a very different way of working and working with light. I have so many assistants that it's just years of just having a light meter in my face. Yeah. I've almost memorized light just from hearing it over and over. Yeah, it's pretty different.
So you're intimate with the psychology of light and the psychology of working with people and putting those things together to get the shot, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, nobody really likes to have their picture taken.
Right.
But once they see that they look really great, then they're really
like, oh, do it again.
Yeah, they're like, I love this. I mean, the thing I think people like is they like the attention they get when they're being photographed with me, because I try to make it feel like, even in my own studio or a shoot, like it is on a set, like the way it felt like when I was modeling, like great music, great hair and makeup, a total energy that makes people feel like a star. Yeah. And I think that's what I sort of bring to a shoot that I hope I do. That's what people say. They usually don't want to leave.
That's great. See, that's that rapport building, which is like a large part of the battle, is to bring someone out of their shell and make them feel comfortable enough to be photographed. Because you're right, it's being photographed is not a natural act. It's you're exposing yourself to who knows who's going to see these images later, and if I look like an idiot, it's going to be out there forever. So that's that innate fear, right?
Yeah, and I think it's just most of us are self-conscious about what we look like, and pictures haven't looked good for them, even snapshots. I said the number one thing you can do is smile. I tell everybody that. If you just smile, forget about your wrinkles, forget about what you look like, forget about your teeth, forget about it's all energy anyway. So just put on a big bright smile.
Now, when you say it was challenging working with indecisive photographers, give me an example of that. I mean, without dropping any names, but is it just like a photographer, you get on the set and you're like, so what do you think?
No. I mean, it would be like insecure, but not that like asking me, because of course models, you're not supposed to say anything. Right. But no, just moving the light one little bit, just very slow. Go back, take a Polaroid. Be like a photographer doing that now, and just going back, taking a shot, looking at it, analyzing it, taking it off, putting it on a screen, looking at and then going back and doing the same thing and just changing everything so slight. I don't know if they were like showing off to the client, like, hey, this is really difficult and it's time consuming. Right. There could be a little of that.
Some theatrics in there, huh?
Yeah, just a little bit like, this is really, a difficult thing to do. Or if it was just really they're that insecure. But I just, as a model, I found that the photographers that I actually loved working with the most, it never felt like I was having my picture taken.
Right. Yeah. It's fun. It's like, it's a collaborative thing. You're having a good time.
Yeah, and they would walk around me and say, hey, just move over this way. And they would go, they understood light and they just wanted to make me feel loose. And that's, I like those photographers, and they're fast.
Yeah. Well, tell me about actress. So speed is the thing, right? So decisiveness, getting in there and know what you want, get the shot that's professionalism, right? Instead of like, let me move her hair a little bit. Let me move this light. Well, this is not exactly Rembrandt lighting. Let me move this light.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And you know what? And the clients, they want to get in and out too. Mm-hmm. They want it to be fun and exciting, but quick and to the point, I think.
Sure. Yeah. So actress, you're also an actress. So tell me about that. So how did that happen?
Well, I think like all models, when they start out in the modeling industry and they have a little success and they do some commercials, and then I joined SAG and AFTRA, and you kind of think, gosh, I could act. I mean, come on. First of all the actors are like a foot shorter than me. So that was one drawback. I mean, seriously, like I'm so tall. The only guy,
short, right? Yeah.
I mean, I think Tom Cruise is like 5'5", maybe. I don't know. And I'm almost 5'11", so it's like that was a little bit of a drawback. But I did study acting. I studied acting with Ray Liotta and Andy Garcia, and I really loved it. I spent years studying acting, and then I went back to the modeling because I needed to make money, and then had a whole nother run with modeling. But I did a movie. I started in a movie. I did some episodic television, and I worked on a soap opera.
Okay, what was the movie? Don't leave me hanging.
The movie's like a really bad cult movie. It's called Sounds of Silence. It is, you can Google it. It's online.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't think it's on Netflix. I looked it up
We
like a
will
year
find
ago.
that movie.
You will find it. You will find that movie.
The Sounds of Silence.
Sounds of Silence. It was actually shot in Sweden about an American couple that inherits this house, and there's ghosts. And I have a kid, so I had to learn sign language with this kid.
Oh, is it a horror movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's really scary. My son won't watch it.
Did you get killed in the movie?
No, but I almost killed someone.
Oh, nice.
I cut someone with a knife, and there's like fake blood and
like a psycho scene.
I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, it was so weird. But then I did a soap opera, which had a lot of people saw that. So that was kind of.
What was the name of that one? Which one?
It was All My Children.
You were on All My Children.
Yeah, it was on ABC, and I played the role of Laurel Banning with this guy Jackson Montgomery, who's a character who was married to Erica, and Anyway, he's 6'5", so it worked. I'm like 5'11", he's 6'5", but it is a tough job. That's a tough way to make a living. You're saying other people's lines. It's not like Tootsie where there's a screen and you got a teleprompter. Yeah. I mean, you have to memorize all of that stuff every night.
That's a grind. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
There's a lot for the brain.
I bet. All right, so let's switch gears. Let's talk about today in photography and where you are now. So you and I met to set this most recent Photo Plus Expo in New York City via Panasonic. So I interviewed you in the booth there. So tell me about, let's talk about gear and what you shoot with, and then let's transition that into what you shoot, lifestyle, yes, but let's go a level deeper and talk about, how you shoot it and all that. So what's your gear of choice and, and why?
Okay. I have been shooting Lumex for the last 24 months. I work with the Lumex GH3. Mm-hmm. It's a mirrorless camera. It shoots in RAW. It has amazing video capabilities, which I'm doing a lot of video with. Yeah. I have like 10 different lenses. I have lenses with 1.7, 2.8. I mean, it's just beautiful. I was a Nikon film shooter. Then I went to Canon and have shot with them. I shot tons of weddings. That's how I started my business. Mm-hmm. And I was shooting with Canons and like 3 huge bodies hanging on me and long lenses. And wow. It's a good workout,
Yeah.
I started working with Lumex this year, and I'm sponsored by them. And I've been doing a lot of teaching and talking about hybrid photography. And I just taught my first workshop on how to make a motion portrait, which was really, really cool. I was a little bit nervous about doing it, but we pulled it off, and it was really fascinating, I think, for people to see that and to see kind of what's happening with technology and what's happening with photography is just going so much more multimedia. I think
motion portrait. What's a motion portrait? I mean, of course, in my mind, I know what it is, but when people hear that phrase, they think, okay, it's a video clip, or the other side of it is it's an animated GIF. No, So what is a motion portrait?
Right. Well, Panasonic Lumex teamed up with Flixel, which is an app. Anybody listening can go on and download it at the App Store. And Flixel is some software that you can upload your videos to, and then you have the capability of deciding what is going to be moving and what's not. And what works best is something besides the person's face. Mm-hmm. That's a little hard to do. Yeah. But for instance, and I can send you the picture. That I just did, the motion portrait that I did. Yeah. I had the model, And I said, you know what? I just want her scarf to move. I don't want anything else to move. So when you first look at the image, it looks like a regular beauty shot or a portrait, a still image. And then just it goes in very slow motion and something's moving. So it's kind of a mix. It's not a GIF where it's kind of more choppy and it's a little bit kind of cartoonish. Yeah. This is just very slight. It works great with fashion. You can also do stuff outside where trees are moving or grass. It's just ever so slight. It just makes the picture come alive.
Yeah,
it's like another dimension.
It's surprising when you look at one of these because you see it and, you know, depending on how it's produced, it could just be sitting there for a minute and then all of a sudden there's a little splash of motion in there. But it's so well done. It doesn't look like it was stuck on there. It's just like, oh, that's moving. How is that moving? And none of the rest of it is not moving, you know. But when done correctly, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So motion portraiture, shooting with mirrorless, the GH3 from Panasonic and Lumix. What about your post processing and all that? I know for the Flixels or the animated portraits, it's their software that you're going into to do all this stuff. But what about everything else? Like if you're just doing a standard 2-dimensional portrait, you know, how does that work? Yeah.
I work in Adobe, and I'm a big fan of Bridge. I know that it's like all my friends and people that are doing photography are in Lightroom. Bridge really works for me. Yeah. It's like down and dirty and fast, and that's my workflow. Yeah. I upload everything. I work with Pictage. All my events and shoots go up to Pictage, which is, I think, important no matter what you're doing. If you are running a studio, you should have your data somewhere else, your images somewhere else. And it's nice to know they have a backup, but literally everything I've shot over the last 8 years. Yeah. So even if I don't even show it to people, it's part of my workflow that it's stored there. Yeah. So I like doing that.
That's cool.
I have one girl that works with me, and she helps me edit. It's just, there's too much to do if you're editing all the time. I like to edit. If I can put headphones on and just crank up the music and edit all day, but then I have to market my business too. So you probably know what that's like, right? I mean, it's just
there's too many plates, and you don't. And the thing, you know, but it's all of business. I think is spinning plates, and you're wearing multiple hats all the time. But if you add too many plates, then they all start wobbling, and you're doing sort of a half job on everything. You know, so you got to eliminate the plates so you can keep them all spinning fast and do what you're good at, and hand the other ones off to other people.
Exactly.
So, okay, cool. So then, the last couple of questions here. So if someone, they want to see your work, it's Kristen Jensen. Is it KristenJensen.com or Kristen Jensen Photography? Okay.
It's actually,
Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's KristenJensen.com.
Okay. And if they want to hire you, like the process. So I see this interview, and I'm looking at some of your work because I will have overlaid some of your images while we're talking here. So I see some of those. I'm like, you know what? I got to hire her. Do I just do it through the website? Or just call you, email you, or smoke signals, or what? How does it
work? Smoke signals work well. You could call I have an 800 number. It's 888-278-1011. Or you can just email me. I'm always available via email. I have my cell phone and my studio number on my website. So I am accessible.
You do realize that you're a supermodel that just gave her phone number out to the public. I'm just saying.
Caller ID time. No.
Exactly. Screen them. So what's next for you? What cool projects do you have lined up, or talks, or workshops, and all that cool stuff?
You know what I've been doing more of is that I've been combining my background as a model and being in front of the camera and photography. So I'm doing that through workshops, but also a series of videos that are instructional, you know, that are really tips on for somebody who's for a pro that wants to expand their business, or even a consumer. So there's two different markets I'm marketing. The consumer would be people that just, you know, how to wear your makeup for a photo, how to pose, how to do that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then for the pros, just how to really work with clients. So with those two areas, I have a lot of different energy going into both of them, and probably some products as well. So that's kind of exciting to build that.
That's cool.
It's like my two lives have kind of come together.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you kind of have to,
so
right? I mean, you have the camera presence and the voice, and you also have the brain around photography and how all that somewhat, right? Yeah, we're all like that. But around the whole industry and how everything works and the technique and the gear and all that stuff, of course, you have to synthesize all that stuff together and put it out there, right? It's almost you're almost obligated to do it, Kristen. Sorry.
I guess so. I think when I started photography, I just wanted to know that, and people to know more for myself, that I was good, that it wasn't just something else. And so now I'm just like letting it all hang out. And I think it's coming together, and I'm really happy. It's very exciting what I'm doing. I'm really happy about it.
That's cool. Congratulations. It sounds like
Thank you.
You're having fun, you're making an impact and creating good work. So that's kind of what it's all about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, cool. All right. Well, again, listeners and watchers, if you're looking at this and you want to check out some of Kristen's work, just head over to KristenJensen.com. I keep wanting to say Kristen Jensen Photography, but KristenJensen.com, which is a better domain than Kristen Jensen Photography. And Kristen, are you on social media at all, like Twitter, Facebook?
Yeah. Yep. I'm on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Pinterest.
Awesome. So you're all over. Yeah. MySpace? Yeah. Are you on MySpace?
No, I'm not. Is that still around?
No, I think so, but I don't know. It's kind of like the running joke. Are you on MySpace? Which is unfortunate for the MySpace people.
Yeah.
Cool.
A little bit.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to do this. It's been educational and insightful. You're awesome.
Thank you. So are you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.